You need to be aware of whether a property is classed as commercial or residential for stamp duty purposes. Now, residential properties are essentially habitable properties that you would live in your everyday house. Commercial properties are offices, shops, etc., that kind of business use. Now, it's important that you know the classification because it can affect how much stamp duty you are to pay on that purchase. For example, the top rate of commercial stamp duty is 5%. The top rate of residential stamp duty is 12%. With commercial rates, you also don't have to pay the 5% surcharge that's on second properties or investment properties, which would bring the top rate of residential property to 17%. Now, there are certain circumstances where you could buy a residential property and claim commercial rates. For example, if a property is uninhabitable, now this can't be a basic renovation. This has to be real structural damage, no water, no electricity. The property is really not habitable. You can potentially claim commercial rates. Interestingly enough as well, if a property has dual purpose, i.e. you bought a shop that has a flat at the top, that transaction can be classed as commercial rates. Now, if you think you've overpaid on stamp duty by paying residential rates, you can claim this and you can backdate the claim over a number of years. So if you think that's the case, it might be worth looking into. There are also some interesting circumstances where you may be better off actually using residential rates as opposed to commercial rates. Now, for example, using the multiple dwellings relief. So if you're buying a number of properties, what you can do is take the average price of them properties and pay stamp duty based upon that, as opposed to the total value, which might push the percentage of stamp duty into a real high rate. So that's an interesting one. But what I also find really interesting is the 6+ dwelling rule. So if you're buying 6 residential properties, you're allowed to use the commercial rates, which again, top rate 5%, whereas anyone else that's not buying 6 properties, the top rate could be upwards of 17%. Now, corporations such as Lloyds and BlackRock, who have openly said they want to be Britain's biggest landlords, will no doubt be using this commercial rate of stamp duty, which gives them an advantage at 5% where you may have to pay 17%. So ask yourself, is that fair? I don't know. That's just the rules, and we're here to help and explain them and take advantage of them.